After decades of speculation, rivalry, and carefully maintained silence, Jean-Claude Van Damme has finally spoken out about Steven Seagal in a way that has sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the martial arts community. What he revealed isn't just surprising, it's a complete dismantling of one of action cinema's most enduring myths: the birth of a silent war. In the early 1990s, two names dominated the action movie landscape: Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal. They represented different philosophies of martial arts cinema. Van Damme with his tournament-tested kickboxing and acrobatic splits, Seagal with his mysterious Aikido background and stone-cold demeanor. While fans debated their respective skills, a real tension was brewing behind the scenes. The conflict began subtly. Seagal had developed a habit of dismissing other martial artists in interviews, particularly targeting Van Damme's ballet background. He would refer to Van Damme as a dancer rather than a fighter, undermining his credibility without direct confrontation. These veiled insults didn't go unnoticed by industry insiders, who began to understand that mutual respect was non-existent between the two stars. Van Damme, busy with blockbusters like Bloodsport, Kickboxer, and Universal Soldier, maintained public silence despite having legitimate tournament experience and documented martial arts credentials. However, crew members and stunt coordinators noticed the tension. The two actors were never invited to the same events, and producers had to choose sides to avoid potential drama. The Stallone Party confrontation. The simmering rivalry exploded during a legendary party at Sylvester Stallone's mansion in the late 1990s. What was meant to be a casual gathering of action stars became the night everything nearly erupted into violence. According to Stallone himself, Seagal began making his usual disparaging comments about Van Damme, questioning his authenticity as a martial artist. This time, however, Van Damme was within earshot and had no intention of remaining silent. In front of Hollywood's elite, Van Damme confronted Seagal directly, issuing a challenge: "Step outside and settle it like real martial artists." Seagal brushed off the challenge, attempting to laugh it away, but Van Damme pressed the issue. When Seagal declined and left the party, most assumed the confrontation was over. They were wrong. Van Damme tracked Seagal to a nearby nightclub and challenged him again in front of stunned onlookers. Once more, Seagal refused. Stallone later confirmed the incident, describing it as one of the most intense confrontations he'd ever witnessed. His assessment was blunt: Van Damme was too strong. Seagal wanted no part of him. Years passed, and the public feud seemed to fade into Hollywood legend. Then, in a 2023 Telegraph interview, Van Damme casually dropped a bombshell that reignited the entire controversy. He revealed that he had once been offered $20 million to fight Steven Seagal in a legitimate martial arts bout at the Mirage Casino in Las Vegas. The proposal came from heavyweight producer Peter Guber, featuring both fighters receiving equal pay for what would have been the fight of the decade. Van Damme accepted immediately. Seagal never showed up. This revelation sent shockwaves through the action movie community. Fans couldn't believe such an offer had existed, while others were stunned that Seagal had walked away from such a lucrative and high-profile opportunity. The $20 million figure represented more than just money. It was validation, respect, and the chance to settle their rivalry definitively. Just when the feud seemed to be ancient history, Van Damme posted something that caught everyone off guard: a friendly Instagram video showing him sharing dinner with Steven Seagal on Seagal's birthday. The caption read, "Thank you, Steven and your family, for the fantastic dinner. Wishing you a happy birthday. Big announcement coming soon." The internet exploded with speculation. After decades of icy silence, were the two legends finally reconciling? Comment sections filled with theories about potential collaborations, joint projects, or long-awaited peace between the action icons. However, something felt off about the carefully staged video. It was short, perfectly cropped, with no audio and minimal interaction visible between the two men. Van Damme appeared cordial, but Seagal looked characteristically stone-faced. The teased big announcement left fans wondering what could possibly bring these longtime rivals together. When Van Damme finally broke his silence completely, it wasn't with the reconciliation fans expected. Instead, he delivered 3 words that shattered decades of mystique. He is a fraud. Van Damme's assessment was delivered without anger or bravado, just tired honesty from someone who had finally decided to stop dancing around the truth. He elaborated on his position with devastating clarity. He talks about training CIA guys, fighting off bad guys in real life, but he's never fought in a real tournament, not one, never stepped into a ring like I did. The dinner, Van Damme revealed, wasn't about friendship or collaboration. It wasn't friendship, it was observation. I wanted to see if anything had changed, and it hadn't. The big announcement he had teased was simply this revelation, the unvarnished truth about Steven Seagal's career and credentials. Seagal's response to Van Damme's explosive statements was predictable: complete silence. No interviews, no social media responses, no attempts at defense or clarification. This silence, however, felt different from his usual mysterious persona. It felt like an absence, a void where a response should have been. The martial arts community began reassessing both men's legacies. Videos of Van Damme's legitimate tournament fights resurfaced alongside documented evidence of his competitive career. Meanwhile, Seagal's wild stories about fighting gangsters and training elite operatives began appearing more like fantasy than fact. Industry professionals who had long remained diplomatically quiet began speaking up, with many supporting Van Damme's position. The contrast became undeniable. One man had built his reputation on documented discipline, competitive fights, and proven skills. The other had constructed his career on mystery, authority, and unverifiable claims. After 30 years of speculation, missed opportunities, and careful silence, the truth has finally emerged. Van Damme's revelation forces fans to confront an uncomfortable question. What defines a martial arts legend? Image or achievement? Performance or proof? While Seagal's early films undoubtedly influenced action cinema and introduced Aikido to mainstream audiences, Van Damme's accusations strike at the foundation of martial arts credibility. In a world where respect must be earned through dedication and proven through combat, the contrast between documented achievement and manufactured mystique becomes impossible to ignore. The feud between Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal has finally reached its conclusion, not through violence or reconciliation, but through revelation. Van Damme's honesty has rewritten the narrative of their rivalry and forced a reckoning with the difference between authentic martial arts mastery and carefully constructed illusion.